I'm Peter Rothwell, Professor of Neurology at the University of Oxford, and I'm a neurologist with an interest in vascular disease, particularly in stroke. Aspirin is essentially the first mass-produced pharmaceutical drug. We've had it for nearly 120 years, but it's surprising how little we know about it and how much more research needs to be done, and how much the information we do have needs to be spread more effectively. And so I think the Aspirin Foundation has an important role in encouraging young researchers and encouraging the dissemination of research and other information on aspirin. I think very much that sort of communicating the results of the trials, the results of other research, helping to put results in context, helping people to think about how best to use the trial results in routine clinical practice, but really around communication.
I'm Carlo Patrono. I'm a clinical pharmacologist at the Catholic University in Rome, Italy, and I've been interested in aspirin for many years, starting from our early work on the clinical pharmacology of platelet cyclooxygenase inhibition, showing how this pathway of arachidonic acid metabolism in platelets can be completely blocked by very low doses of aspirin, which provided a rationale for performing clinical trials of low-dose aspirin for primary and secondary prevention of cardiovascular disease. I believe the interest in ongoing aspirin research, the fact that there is an interesting community of aspirin researchers around the world, and I thought that the Aspirin Foundation could be an ideal place to try and liaise this international aspirin community through meetings, through awards. There will be substantial amount of new information from these aspirin trials, and perhaps one important role of the Aspirin Foundation will be to disseminate information about these new findings, as well as facilitate the interchange among different investigators in the field.
My name's Ruth Langley. I'm a medical oncologist and I'm also a clinical trialist. Aspirin is a very interesting drug, and despite being around for a long period of time, there's new research and new ideas that are coming out the whole time. And the advisory board can bring people together from different disciplines to move this forward. Well, much of the research that I'm involved in terms of aspirin and cancer, in fact, will run for many years. We're both looking at how aspirin might help prevent cancers come back, but also how aspirin might stop cancers developing in the first place. And that will take 10 or 15 years to come to fruition. So I think the advisory board is going to have an important role for many years to come.
I'm Professor Ronald Eccles, and I'm Director of the Common Cold Centre at Cardiff University. My interest is in studying the symptoms of common cold and how to treat them. And aspirin is an important treatment for the pain-related symptoms of common cold, such as sore throat pain, headache, muscle aches and pain. And we've been particularly interested in recent clinical trials in studying combinations of aspirin to see if we can include other symptoms such as nasal congestion. Well, I think it was a privilege to be invited to join the board because it's been around for quite a few years, and its aims are really to promote the information about the latest research in aspirin and how it may be useful to the man in the street, basically. So promotion of information. It also gave me an opportunity to mix with some of the key opinion leaders in aspirin research, which of course no academic would refuse. When you get the results of the trials and they're published, it's quite complex material and difficult to absorb necessarily what it means. So I think the aspirin board can act as a translator to some extent to assist the media and to get the message home to the general public about any benefits that are available in using aspirin to treat or prevent conditions such as cancer and cardiovascular disease, neurological diseases like dementia, etc. All of these are exciting areas at the moment where there is information coming out, but it's still not black and white yet. We need to try and interpret that and say what are the benefits and what are the risks associated with these treatments, and try and put it into layman's terms.
I'm Andrew Chan, and I'm a gastroenterologist, and I'm also a researcher in cancer prevention. Well, one of my main areas of interest has been in the use of aspirin for the prevention of cancer. In particular, I've done work in the field of colorectal cancer prevention using aspirin. And so I became very interested in understanding from a public health standpoint, what is the role of aspirin in chronic disease prevention? So the International Aspirin Foundation has been a terrific venue for me to discuss with like-minded individuals the scientific progress we're making in terms of the use of aspirin for disease prevention, but also trying to better understand how it is that we can think about aspirin for general population recommendations. I think the foundation will be a key player in trying to both assimilate the evidence and also try to disseminate that into a digestible form for both the scientific community and also the general population. I think we would potentially play a very important role in helping those different groups understand how research can be applied to healthcare and how we can really fully maximize the benefits of aspirin for chronic disease prevention.
Mike Gaziano, and I'm a cardiologist and a chronic disease epidemiologist, meaning I study disease in populations. It's a wonderful opportunity to engage in the sharing of what we know about this amazing substance that's been around now for 120 years. It has many uses. The science is still vibrant. We continue to learn more about how it works and what its potential uses are. And I think the role of the foundation is to bring to light the new findings. They always have to be put in context of what we know from previous studies. There will be a number of cardiovascular and cancer trials that will be coming to fruition in the coming years. And that will be important information for the general public and the practicing clinicians. It's become challenging to integrate all of the information that you need to know about the benefits in terms of cardiovascular disease and cancer and the potential challenges with using aspirin. So the synthesis of that information is increasingly important. I think that it's an important role of the foundation to try to synthesize that information and to make it accessible to the average clinician and to the general public.